happy Saturday, everybody. Everybody stuffed to the gills, all of our American friends. Betsy, did you gain some weight over the holiday?
I haven't checked, but I did enjoy my food.
You don't look like somebody who checks the scale every day. No.
Not every day.
No.
Not every day. I don't ever check the scale. Maybe I should.
I hardly ever. I probably should as well, but.
How are you guys today?
Excellent.
Well,
Yeah, working on it. I was in Sydney, Australia last night. My wings are
wow.
tired from flying.
Your wings
home.
are tired, yes.
My wings are tired. And I did a talk about mitochondrial DNA, and I was talking to Betsy and to Greg about it. And Betsy said, "Oh, I want to show you what I did." And it's so cute. Let me find it. Here we go. Look at this. Betsy looks just like all of her ancestors, doesn't she?
That's great. That's
so
really
Betsy, tell us the names of these.
Yeah. So my left is my mother, Suzanne Tudor McMurray.
Right.
And then to her left is my maternal grandmother, Margaret Redwood.
Good name.
Yeah. And then to her left, far left, is my great grandmother, Annie Victoria Tudor. So Tudor was her maiden name.
Tudor. Are you royal?
Yes.
That's what got me into genealogy.
The name Tudor?
The family says we are, and I never believed it. So I'm still, trying to prove it or disprove it. I don't know.
So this is Betsy's mitochondrial relationship trail back to her great grandmother. Yeah, that's so cool. She's a Tudor.
She's a Tudor.
We bow to you. Wait, curtsy. I should do a curtsy. It's Saturday, and you never know what's going to happen on Saturday. Thank you for letting me share, Betsy.
Of course.
Let's see. I can get my other screen ready. There we go. It's a wonderful day in the neighborhood, and so that was fun. And it was fun that Betsy showed that to me this morning because yesterday I got lost.
Oh.
I was going through cleaning up my screens for my slide deck last night, and all day long yesterday I went and I researched my stuff for Family Tree DNA. They're doing away with their family trees at Family Tree DNA. They announced that at the conference that we were at in Houston. So I was going through my mitochondrial DNA matches and grabbing the information from the trees that my matches had uploaded and adding them to the notes section that isn't going away, so that I would have the information that they had on their trees available, so that I would have that. I don't know what's going to go on beyond that, but I understand they're going to be using a third-party tool for their family tree connections moving forward. So that'll be interesting to watch. So in that conversation, telling them about me getting lost down the rabbit hole of WikiTree yesterday, working on my own mitochondrial DNA project, Betsy showed us that great picture. Tudor, eh? Tudor.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So how are you guys doing? Do we have anybody fun in the comments?
We've got lots of people here.
Yeah.
Somebody's laughing at Chris. So I know Chris Ferrietto was here. Brian, you were here first. I'm so tired of giving you the first arrival thing. Christine Miller is here. Lynette Jester. Yoke is here. Hey up. Let's see. Victor is here. Good time zone, everybody. Did the time zone change somewhere? People are talking about the temperature. You can tell it's getting cold in the northern hemisphere when people start talking about the temperature. Oh, Santa Claus parade is 2 blocks from Lisa Gervais's house this morning. Then Murray Maloney is here. Hey, Murray. Let's see. Susie Carter's here. Audrey Martin's here. Hey, Audrey. Laura W. Mary Buchholz. Donna Gerber. Chris Ferriel. I already said hey to Chris. And Mary Sleppy. Present. Hey. She's not. Are you a present? Or are you present?
She has
what
a present.
That, Mary? Tell us. Okay. All right. So, question of the week. What it was U.S. Thanksgiving this week. So some of you ate up lots of turkey and stuffing. Question of the week is, what are you thankful for? What has researching your family history made you thankful for? What about you, Betsy?
Um, I think it's really given me a much deeper sense of self. And you know, there's that saying about like walk like you have all your ancestors
Mhm.
behind you. And I really, you know, as the more research I do, I feel that, and it strengthens me.
What
Mhm.
about you, Greg?
Very similar. I mean, I'm thankful for all the connections I've made with my biological family, and also the whole WikiTree family that
Mhm.
has adopted me, basically.
I love WikiTree so much, and I love that WikiTree has adopted me.
Mhm.
And it's been years that I've been around here, and I'm very thankful for this community. I think
Mhm.
WikiTree is it is family to me.
Mhm.
WikiTree is so much family, and I love that I get to be a part of your family every Saturday morning.
Mhm.
I'm the annoying kid at the kiddies table saying, "Mom, pass the syrup. Mom, where's the syrup?" All right. So yeah, there aren't a lot of answers this week. And somebody already upvoted a best answer. I feel more spiritually connected than years ago because I've learned more, mostly on my own. Very thankful to know who they are, and most thankful that my mom and my grandmother left me with a lot of photos and write-ups that I would never have known without it. That's from Anonymous Harms, and it was upvoted by Claire Pearson. I'm going to leave that as our best answer question, because a lot of people said that, you know, that they were very thankful that they had photographs and things. And Alexis Nelson, I love Alexis. I love your pictures. Researching my ancestors has made me so much more aware of the travels they made before planes and automobiles, and consequently, their journeys were hard. I see most of them came from humble beginnings. They had to work doing manual labor without the many conveniences that I enjoy today. So Alexis is thankful that they went through all of that to get to where they are now. My great grandmother, Laura Lovelace, and my great great grandmother, Catherine Morris, both died from complications giving birth. This was something that I never knew before doing genealogy. I truly appreciate the sacrifice that they made. And I hope that by doing genealogy and leaving behind the memories of their lives, that they will be honored by future generations. I'm thankful for that. You know, I'm thankful that people have that sense like you do, and Greg, of moving it forward for the future generations. Do you guys have somebody in your family that's coming up that's into genealogy?
It's not good. No one has emerged clearly yet.
Yeah. I was thinking about this the other night. I was looking, I have bookshelves underneath my TV set, you know, in our living room. I'm like looking at those books and the kind of messy papers that are up underneath it. They're not too bad. And I'm like, you know, I really should get to organizing this stuff. And I'm like, when I die, nobody's going to make heads or tail of my stuff. I'm like, oh no.
Hopefully that's many years from now.
Yeah, I gotta get to work on this. It
Yeah.
may take me years to get this mess cleaned up.
You know.
Yeah, have you organized your stuff for people? Yeah,
No.
And
Not
Betsy,
really.
you?
No,
WikiTree.
I haven't.
WikiTree is my organization.
WikiTree
It's sort of contained, so I know, you know, I go to like 3 discrete locations, either virtually or physically, but each of those places is
Oh, now you just made me think, oh, maybe I should leave them clues.
Oh, yes.
That's little clues. That's a funny idea. Drive down so-and-so road, turn left, find the big rock, dig it up. There'll be a Rubbermaid there, buried, wrapped in plastic. That's funny. David Draper says that I'm thankful after 71 years that I know where I'm from. Again, talking about what Betsy and Greg were talking about, that sense of identity, that sense of self. Where I came from, who I came from, and the stories my family left behind. I would not have known any of that if not for WikiTree. Here we go. We're thankful for WikiTree again. I'm very thankful for all the hard work behind everyone behind the curtains that WikiTree has done to make this site the absolute best of its kind. What words of thanks carry enough meaning to convey the feelings of gratitude for this site that helps us find our heritage. Wow. That's a nice one. Thank
Yep.
you, David. I don't know. Do you feel like you're working behind the curtains, Greg, for WikiTree?
Behind the curtains, I guess, sort of,
Betsy,
working on
you
the app.
too? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that every volunteer could probably say that, because
Yeah.
everybody gives a little bit of themselves. So it's like, how many people are on WikiTree today? We're all working behind the curtains. We're all
Right.
building up this
Mhm.
collaborative site. I'm thankful. This is from Susan Allen Smith, for the hour spent absorbed in learning about my family. It kept my mind off physical maladies I've had that I have for hours at a time. I've also learned so much about the history of people and places, why they migrated, when and where they did, and how that makes more sense to me. And here's a big one. I've been able to trace my Smith family. Thankful that I can. Did you guys hear that? Thankful that I can trace my Smith. I'm doing
That's
a
pretty
talk in June about the 7 words you can't say in genealogy, kind of like George Carlin, and one of them is Smith. That's one of the 7 words you can't say in
I was
genealogy.
wondering what the 7 words were.
Yeah. Oh, and there's several of them, but yeah, it's one of the little mini keynotes at the Ontario Genealogical Society's June thing. June conference. Let's see. Realizing how much people had to survive to make it to adulthood. Oliver Steegen. That goes along with the same kind of thoughts that we were having before. Let's see. Exploring my family history deepened my gratitude in several ways. As someone enamored with history, I cherish the discoveries from the past, reflecting on both triumphs and challenges that faced my ancestors. So thankful that the ancestors were there. I guess I'm most thankful for knowing the history from K. Smith, that history was recorded, although purposefully misleading in some cases. Oh, it just makes the puzzle harder to put together. There you go. It lies in records, stories, and data sometimes forgotten and ignored, yet waiting to be awakened. Without a doubt, I know more about my family than anyone alive today or years past. Oh, I hadn't even thought about that. Wow. Have you guys thought of that? No, you know more about your family than anybody, probably.
Yeah.
My dad always says, "Oh, you're finding all the secrets." I always say, "Dad, there are no secrets to find, not in our family." Well, there's one little secret. If I told you, I'd have to kill you. So there was some conversation going back and forth between Marion Cerruti and Alexis Nelson. I always love to see when people get collaborative on these chats. Research. Thankful for research I've been able to do on my family tree. That from Janelle Johnson. And another thank you for WikiTree and everyone for this beautiful site. Let's see. Thankful that I've been able to solve so many family mysteries, my own and for others. This from Michelle Matthews. Searching for my ancestors has led me to find my direct descendant of the Mayflower Pilgrims. Perfect answer for Thanksgiving weekend.
Absolutely.
And then let's see. Sacrifices made by my family, made for the future of this country that I believe in, from Chris Wine and Brian Nash. You were first in and last to make your post here. It made me thankful of all my ancestors who came before me and what they needed to go through for me to be here. So going through the same feeling as everybody else. Also thankful that I do not have to experience many of the everyday normalcies that generations before me had to go through. Can you imagine washing your clothes down at the creek with a washboard? No. Slamming them on rocks? No. So that is the question of the week.
Good stuff.
I thought my clock said 10:17. It said 10:11.
Oh. Do you want to go on for another 6
No,
minutes?
I'm fine. I like the answers, and I like that so many of the answers were, yay, WikiTree.
Yeah.
Yeah, WikiTree has been a huge influence in my life. It has.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, me too.
Me three.
What are all these people doing over here? Oh, let's go over here. I'm gonna catch up on
check out the comments while I.
Yeah.
Let's zoom in. Oh, really big. So the profiles of the week again, or any comments you want to?
No, I think we're good.
We're good. Okay.
Yeah, I think people agreed.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no. Chris Ferriello says one of the 7 words you can't say in genealogy is name change at Ellis Island. No, that's not one word either, Chris.
It's not one word. Yes. So the profiles of the week, just as Mags has already alluded to, the Mayflower, the first Thanksgiving, the Mayflower passengers, and the first Thanksgiving attendees. Which ones of those are you most closely connected to? And as I was reading through them, I think, now some of this is familiar. I remember researching all about the Mayflower and the founding of the Plymouth Company, and I thought, we've been here before. So I actually went on YouTube and did a search for November 22, 2022, to discover what we had done. And in fact, we had done just that. Those were the profiles. And here is a screenshot.
There we are.
Is it the exact same profiles?
What's that? So some of them are this. They're not all the same, but some of them are the same. So
have we gotten into a TARDIS?
Have we gotten into a TARDIS? That's right. So some of these profiles I should be able to go through fairly quickly, and just skim over some of the facts, because if you want more details, you can just go back a year, jump into your TARDIS, go back a year, and because it took me 10 minutes to get through the first profile. Or the first 2 profiles. Anyways, it was a learning curve for me, all about the details of the first Thanksgiving that I didn't know all the specifics about. But I'm going to do something a little different this time, because we're going to talk about the profiles and the people in them and whatnot, and some of them quicker than others, the ones that were covered last year. But I'm wearing my Hacktoberfest shirt because I thought that one of the things I mentioned at the very end of last week's LiveCast is that Jamie had done an update to all of the tree apps. So a lot of the tree apps that have been worked on during the Hacktoberfest were updated during that month, and she made those updates live last week, and some of the more further refinements that were going on over the first couple of weeks of November. So I'm going to show off some of the tree apps that you may or may not have used before. And I won't be going through all of the details and all of the new specs of each of them, but I'm just going to give you a quick show of them so that you're aware of the variety that's there now. So the premier one, the one that was highlighted first, profile of the week, unlike last week where I forgot the profile person, the lead person, until Betsy reminded me, I'm going to start with the lead person, and that is Richard Warren. So Richard Warren, born 1583 in England somewhere, and died in 1628 at age 45 in Plymouth Colony. He was a passenger on the Mayflower, and like many of these profiles, and I don't know if all of the Mayflower or the majority of them are like this, but many of them have uncertain origins. And one thing about WikiTree is the genealogists, who are part of WikiTree, all of us, take this very seriously. And so these profiles, of course, have been very well researched. I mean, there's a whole society called the Mayflower Society, right? Like these are not just unknown people. These are highly celebrated and famous because of their origins. But their actual origins back in England, for many of them, it's unknown. And so there's lots of theories. And this profile is just like many of those. It goes through different discoveries and the evidence and what they're weighing here and there. And like many of them, if they're not sure, they don't put in the father and the mother of just the ones who they think might be. They wait till they're really sure before they fill in the field for the parents. So you've got to appreciate that. And it's very, very interesting going through all the details. I'm not going to go through the details here because, again, that would just expand the time. But it's a very interesting read, and I recommend it strongly. So anyways, what we do know, though, is that eventually Richard became a merchant in London. And so there's a couple interesting things. He was known, he became a free man of London. So that I hadn't heard of that term before, but he was free of London, which meant that he was being a free man of London, or a free person of London, because apparently women could be. I don't know as early back when that was a thing or not, but it basically granted you the right to sell and do trade inside the city. And if you weren't, then you couldn't. And he was also part of the Drapers Company of London, so which was a trade association of merchants who worked with wool products, sold draperies and livery and stuff like that. He was an apprentice at one point, and then you couldn't get married as an apprentice. So he did get married apparently shortly after his apprenticeship was up, and then he had apprentices of his own, according to some of the documents. And then eventually he was one of the businessmen who helped finance and then went on the trip for the Mayflower. So he married Elizabeth Walker from Hertfordshire. One of the suggestions is that he himself might have been from that area, and that's how he knew her. But again, it's not solid, so that's why the parents aren't listed there. He has 7 children who survived and had children of their own. And his the biggest claim to fame is that he is the one known to, or he is the Mayflower passenger who has more descendants than any other. Estimated 14 million descendants. Wow. Like, it's only estimated because, of course, they haven't tracked down every single one of them, and they must be using some stats to, for.
It must be an algorithm.
I'm sure there's an algorithm for it, but imagine that.
How many have you looked to see how many descendants he has on WikiTree?
Well, because he has no parents, all of his I guess his CC7s would.
But no, his descendants button. There's no descendants button.
There is. It'll take a long time to go. But what I can show you is the first tree app that I'm going to show is the stats app. Now I limited it to 5 because when I put it on 10, it just cranked and it just went and spun and spun and spun out of control. So if I had more time, I would load it up to 10 generations. But so this app here, this is one of the ones that's under tree apps. And it's called Generational Statistics. This used to be the app that Jamie had done, Jamie's stats app. And now it has been improved. And someone was working with Jamie, whose name is now escaping me. I'm going blank. So someone, Murray, I know is in the chat, so he could probably tell me the name that I'm blanking on, who helped Jamie add these extra features to it. So he's added a lot more columns along the top. And instead of Jamie's app was just about ancestors, and the last time we showed this app, actually, it was about ancestor statistics. But now he's got an option so you can take the stats for the descendants going the opposite direction. So the earliest and the latest birth year of a particular generation, the average birth year, marriage age, and that sort of thing. And then he added lifespan, number of children, and number of siblings. Those 2 columns weren't there before.
Very cool.
Isn't that really neat?
Yeah.
So, and he also does a total count. Now, in the ancestors, the total count, of course, goes up by powers of 2, 2, 4, 8, because the ancestors is a very finite and predictable number. Descendants, not nearly predictable, and practically infinite when you get down to however many generations. The max is still 10. So you're not going to get to the modern age using this, but it'll be interesting to see. And I was trying to load it up, and then it just sort of hung there because it was, going up. Look how it went from 157, 153, 288.
So if you want to crash your computer, run Richard Warren. I did, but it would only show me 57 grandchildren and nothing further.
Oh, okay. Well, the other thing is, because I'm loading up different tree apps for each one of these people, I'm thinking, okay, at some point the WikiTree server is going to cut me off and I won't be able to load anything.
No more apps for you.
No more apps for you.
I don't find that happens very often on WikiTree, though. That's one of the things I love about WikiTree is WikiTree itself does not hang up.
No, WikiTree itself doesn't. Now, some of the apps have we have experienced over in October. Sometimes when we were programming. There were some apps, and maybe because we were on our own servers or on our test servers, there were times where it was timing out. But they've been working on that problem, and I think Brian and Jamie have made that a better.
Brian.
Well, Brian has been doing it, but Jamie's been asking him to do it on our behalf.
Yeah, because Murray Maloney did answer you.
Oh, he did. Oh, he's blanking too. Oh no. It wasn't Jonathan. It was. Oh, sorry. I could find it if I went over to Discord and looked through my messages, but that wouldn't be very exciting for you folks. So I apologize in advance for
just
that.
apologize to that person, because that's the person you're offending.
I know. Well, I am. I'm mortified that I.
We think you need to do a G2G post apology.
Okay, let's move on. William Bradford. We talked at length about him last time. He, of course, was the second governor. He was the governor of the Plymouth colony multiple times.
Wow.
The governorship was an elected position, and so they went back and forth. So he came from, of course, Yorkshire, England, born before St. Joseph's Day, March 1590, the 19th, and passed away the 9th of May, 1657, at age 67. And unlike them, we do know who his parents were, so his parentage isn't in doubt. They actually have his baptism there. And so he had two wives. His first wife, they had one child by this first wife. And you might recall the tragedy. His first wife died, actually didn't make it to land. She died. She fell off the ship into the harbor and drowned. Oh, no. Yes. They were in Plymouth Harbor, but she had an accident there.
Oh no.
Wasn't that sad? You guys, that was basically the reaction you guys had last year when I told you this.
Did you watch all of last year's show?
I didn't watch all of it. I watched the beginning and I thought, okay, how many? That's a repeat. Anyways, they're not all repeats.
But this is all new content. Us. we're all new content. Bless you, Betsy. Betsy's having the daintiest little sneeze.
I didn't even hear it.
I knew it.
She was like, Betsy.
Yeah, mine are much more.
You can't sneeze in our house that everybody in the house doesn't hear it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So that's, yeah. So he was one of the timeline, and I think I commented about this last time, a really nice timeline that sort of goes through all the steps leading up to and then coming over the sad demise in December. So he signed the contract on the Mayflower Compact in November, the accidental death there, and then so on. So that's his claim to fame.
Wow.
And so the app I've shown here is, of course, the fan chart app, because he's one of the few that actually has a significant fan chart.
Yeah. Yep.
So that, and then the other, because he's one of the few that actually has any ancestry to speak of. The other app there is this fractal tree. Now, neither of these were actually updated during Hacktoberfest, so I'm not going to spend any time on them. But those are two different ways of looking at your ancestors. Basically, the same. I can add more generations. Well, nope, I can't. There we go. Oh, that's interesting. That's a bug. That's going off into the Netherlands.
See, there's a new bit of information too. Not only are we getting to see these beautiful charts, we just found a bug.
We found a bug. There we go. Let's just go back down to here. There we go. So different ways of looking at your ancestors or organizing them. Next is John Alden, who we also talked about last time. And again, you'll see that we don't know his parents. We don't know his brother or his siblings. Disproven, disputed, and competing theories about this person's parents. See the text for details. Big orange warning. There weren't big orange warnings on the other ones, so maybe this one was one people have been changing more often, and so they felt the need to put it up there. John was a cooper, so a barrel maker, and he went over as a young lad. How young was he? Oh, okay, he was born in 58, so he would be what, 22 in 1620.
In 1620, that was middle-aged.
Yeah, middle age. Yeah.
Especially if you were on the Mayflower.
And he married 2 years later in 1622, and so one of the Mayflower descendants. He was the let's see, he was a young, hopeful young man, much desired, but left to his own liking to go or stay when he came here. But he stayed and married here. That's what someone said about him. He married Priscilla Mullins, and there was a whole poem, and it's written about later on, that Miles Standish was in love with her, and there was a Longfellow poem about the courtship of Miles Standish that involved sort of that love triangle, which then at the end it said it was kind of ruled that it was probably fictitious, that the poem wasn't necessarily factual. I think John was one of the ones who got into a duel, the only one who got into a duel, if I remember him correctly. Where is it here? I can't. He was a free man.
Okay, people, find out if John got into a.
I thought he was one of the ones who got in a duel. But anyways, we talked a lot about him last time, so I'm not going to go much further. But there was a nice memorial for him there. And the app I'm going to show here is the CC7 Views, which is turned into a real powerhouse of an app. Now, it existed before Hacktoberfest, but it's been added to since then. And there's
that's so funny. I'm over here trying to scroll down your screen. I can't do that. You do that too when he's showing something. Are you trying to scroll, Betsy?
I did one at one point earlier.
Oh, that's hilarious. So one of the things in the CC7 app is you can actually, I can't remember if you can actually choose which connection level you want to load it up at, and knowing that these people have so many connections, like each one of them. If you go back, let me go back. He has, where does it say here? Oh, it's not saying on his.
Nothing's working for you today,
over
Greg.
1,008 connections.
Oh.
108,000 connections for William Bradford.
That's a lot of connections.
That's a lot of connections. And I don't know why, John.
But I'm thankful for every one of the WikiTreeers who work to make those connections happen.
Yes.
Yes.
Can you imagine? Like, that's a massive work. But anyways, you can limit the how far out you can go, so that makes it load faster, right? And you can also you can pick a degree and just load that degree. So we could just load just the people who are 3 degrees away from Joan Alden if we wanted to. So that's really neat, especially if you want to sort of zoom in, or you want a subset of people to investigate. Yep. That's a really neat feature to have.
Yoke says it's not showing because he's not notable.
He's not notable.
Really?
You're right. That was a difference between those two profiles. Good eye.
Good eye. We're thankful for Yoke.
Yes. And of course, now one of the things that was added is the privacy feature. So you can choose a privacy level of the profiles that you want to view. Yeah. So now, because most of these people are way back, they're going to be open. So we don't have to worry about, ones that are locked for this particular subset that I've got. But if you're working on your own, or your parents, then some of the profiles that'll come up will be locked and some won't be. Or if you're just doing some random ones, it's frustrating to look for ones that you want to change and realize, oh, the profile's locked. So I've just wasted all this time investigating stuff, and I can't actually edit it because it's locked if I'm not a prof. And then these 2 top ones here will show you whether they have biocheck issues or not. Because one of the options that has been added is the biocheck has been integrated into this. So you can see that it says biocheck is enabled in the settings. So that's a setting now where you can turn on biocheck. So you can actually check the profiles to see if they've passed that. Mm-hmm. And there's lots of other options that have been added as well. So I would encourage you strongly to investigate the CC7 because it's such a powerful app now. Moving on, Edward Doty, also someone we talked about last time.
That
He's-
is your closest at 15 degrees, Greg.
Okay.
Let's see if
And
he's
he
a
is
real
notable.
cousin. He is not a real cousin.
No, I don't think I have any that are actual cousins of mine. I could be wrong, but I don't remember.
I'll look and see. You
Okay.
keep yourself busy there.
Yeah. So he was born about 1599. So again, he would also be early 20s when he arrived. He was a passenger. He met. So he was a servant when he arrived. Just Stephen Hopkins and his family, and he's the one who fought the duel. It wasn't John Alden. It was this guy who fought the duel. I knew that one of the ones who was a repeat fought a duel. So he was the first fought a duel. Oh yes, and not only did he fought a duel, and they both got wounded in the duel. The person and Edward Doty and Edward Leicester, who were both two servants that were fought, they both got wounded, and their penance was to be tied up hand to foot and left that way for 24 hours to each other. Like you're going to get together, you're going to get along, kids.
People use that as a parenting tool.
Yes.
Your youngsters, your toddlers are arguing, you tie them together.
Yeah. But the funny thing is that they were supposed to be left 24 hours without meat or drink. But once it began, within an hour, they were in such great pain that they were released. They couldn't even stand it after 1 hour. Anyways, that's funny. And there's a memorial to him. Anyways, that he had there's 7 children with his second wife. No, wait a second. How come there's 9 there? Children of Edward Doty and his second wife. Why did I say 7? I guess there's 9. Anyways, very funny. And the tree app that I've shown here is the Descendants app. So there's a new app that highlights the descendants. And just like with the Ancestors app, which is built into the profiles, you can, turn on and off these little triangles, little indicators to expand or contract any specific family. So if there's a specific family you want to dig into, you can turn that on and off and go deep as you can. Look how many levels we're in now. Woo, crazy. So you can show up to, you can determine how many generations you want to show, whether you want to show the spouses, whether they're childless, lots of different options here. This has been quite an excellent app in terms of the development. I really like the look of it. Very easy to use, and like some of the other ones, the CC7 one as well, you can actually export all this information to a spreadsheet if you want to use that to really customize the sorting and the filtering, even more so than what we've got on WikiTree here. So very cool stuff.
Awesome.
Miles Standish, we talked about him before as well. Of course, he was the military man, Captain Miles Standish, on the Mayflower, military commander, defender of the Plymouth colony, joined by his wife shortly after their arrival. I didn't remember reading this last time, that he was known as Captain Shrimpy due to his diminutive stature. So that is kind of
nice photos on this profile.
Yeah, they've really done a nice job. So I like the painting there, his portrait, embarkation. He's got a whole monument.
He has a lighthouse. Oh, it's a monument. I see.
Well, it says it's a monument. It looks like a lighthouse, doesn't it?
It does. Is it a cenotaph? Maybe it's somewhere.
Maybe, but I mean, there's no light at the top there. At least if it is, it's a non-standard one, I guess. It looks sort of like a hand pump at the top, but I wonder if that's a statue. It's probably a statue of him at the top, is my guess.
It looks like a little figure.
Yeah. So, anyways, well, despite all his military background and military career, he didn't die in a military campaign. But it was probably almost as painful because he died of kidney stones after much suffering. That's not a fun way to go, I don't think. So,
No.
poor guy. One thing, it's too bad Mags has disappeared right now because one of the things I wanted to mention, and this happens in a few others, is that there are research notes and often DNA research notes. So there's Y-DNA results here from Family Tree DNA, actually, through the Mayflower Society, and about the specific Y-DNA line. And again, just like many of them, they ask if you are connected to that line to reach out and join the project. And so the next app that just showed up was the Family Portraits app. And the way this works, I believe, is it takes the primary person, then goes to their siblings, their ancestors, and their siblings, and so on. And because Miles has, he is again one of those that we don't have his parents or siblings. That's a very short list of photos to show.
Yeah.
But I did ask Steve. Steve Harris is the author of this app, and I did send him a quick message wondering if there was an option to show portraits of descendants, because that would go on forever, of course. Well, not forever, but he has lots of descendants, and maybe it does. And I just, maybe it's still waiting. I don't know. But anyways, it's a neat app. If you put in your own profile or WikiTree ID here, it'll show lists of portraits of the family portraits of you and also your ancestors and siblings, which is very cool.
Okay.
Yeah, you get a neat little sort of random collage that just loads up. So that's a neat one that's been added this month. Eleanor Armstrong. Now we're getting to the ones that we haven't talked about before, but she was a passenger on the Mayflower, one of 18 adult women who came on the Mayflower, and one of only 4 that survived that first winter. You'll recall that there was 150 people who arrived to the colony and in 1620, but after that really wretched winter and not being very well prepared, and even though they were helped by the Native Americans that they met to help survive, still only 53 of them actually survived that winter. So that was a very rough one. So she was Mrs. Billington, when she arrived, married to John Billington. And then later he passed away in 1630. And when he passed, interestingly enough, she had to sign a document. Well, I think she had to sign a document to give over all of her possessions to her surviving son, so that then she could marry her second husband, which was an interesting. I'm not sure why that was the case.
Or proper inheritance by descent?
Yeah, I guess. So that was an interesting fact I found from her there. Yeah, so right there. Agreed to the disposal of her estate, 2 cows, before their marriage. Here, take these cows. I don't think 2 cows would make a nice sight in a new house for newlyweds anyways. Who wants 2 cows in the middle of your living room?
I don't know, steak for dinner?
Breakfast?
4 for breakfast?
Yeah, that's right. And again, common errors to avoid. Notice, incorrect last name at birth, something to watch out. So that's kind of neat. And the tree app that I'm going to use for her is the family timeline. And we've displayed this one before as well. So it gives you the time, like there's the top person is the primary person, which is Eleanor here, and her 2 spouses. And their that's interesting, their timeline. Oh, we don't know when Gregory's birth was. So I guess they just estimated it. So it looks like he was much younger. And then if you click on Francis, her son, the one who inherited those 2 cows, then you get his family timeline. You see his parents, his sibling, and then his spouse and children, and so on and so forth. And you can zoom in and out to see if you have a large number of people. So that's an interesting app. And you can and the nice thing about this one is you can visualize like when people were born, and the app does try to put them in chronological order, but also their ages, like when they died as well. So you can see which ones died earlier, and this one was obviously one who died in as an infant, very young.
Mhm.
So interesting. Next one is Mary Brewster, born in Scrooby. I remember.
So how many people do you know personally, your friends, who claim to be able to track back to this person?
To Mary Brewster?
Yep.
I don't know anyone who.
I have 2 friends who are Brewsters.
Really?
Who are Mayflower descendants.
Ah.
Isn't that crazy?
That's wild. Well, I was going to ask you guys, are any of you or any people in the chat, are any of these people that we're talking about, are any of those your greats?
Yeah. And we have a suggestion.
Yes.
Just a thought, maybe next year you could do some profiles of the hosts of the first Thanksgiving.
Ooh.
I love that idea.
Yeah, I do too.
Neat.
Excellent. No, I'm not directly descended from any of these people. Oh, wait, but I do have one that's like a cousin.
A close cousin, yeah.
Richard Moore, is that the one that's the cousin? Yeah, Richard Moore, 8th cousin, 11 times removed.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
So we talked about, so she's born about 1568 in Scrooby. So when she came over, she was already in her middle ages, I guess.
Well, there's another idea, is having somebody who is somehow tangentially related to the Mayflower, a registrar for Mayflower descendants.
Ooh,
that's an idea.
That's neat.
Yeah,
neat. She was the wife of William Brewster, and they were married in 1593. So she was stated to be about 40 when she came over, and she died in 1627. So early on in the thing. So she was born in Scrooby, and when I was watching the last time, I made a big deal about Scrooby because I thought, what a cool name! I've never heard of it before, and I said not Scrooby Doo.
Yeah.
You made it.
I was waiting for you to say that again.
Scrooby Doo.
I'm having deja vu.
Deja vu now, yes. That's right. So because last year we talked about her husband, William. Anyways, so again, you missed there was a Y-DNA connection with one of the previous profiles, and this one, mtDNA, mitochondrial DNA, and they have found one matrilineal descendant, and again, they're looking for others. So that's kind of cool. Checklist completed. And what tree app? There's Alesh added a tree app during Hacktoberfest, and basically he's put a link to his WikiTree Plus maps on tree app. So you don't actually have to go to WikiTree Plus to get the map. You can actually do a WikiTree map directly from your profile. Go to tree apps and then choose WikiTree Plus maps, and you can choose to map the person's ancestors. I've chosen descendants here. So this is, I can just zoom, let me go up there. So here's all the descendants of this Mary Brewster. So you can see, of course, the biggest chunk of them are in the States in New England area. But a bunch went back to the home country. And then there's some that have ventured far and wide up to the Northwest Territories in Canada, down to Mexico, into the tip of Brazil.
This would only be direct, not like nieces, nephews.
It says descendants, so I'm guessing it's direct.
Okay, got it.
And it only mapped up to the first 1,000 that they found of. Did it say somewhere here? I think when it was loading, it said 1,000 of 5,000 or something like that. I can't remember what the number was, but it can only load 1,000 dots at a time. But you can zoom in on the map, and then it takes a while. It'll just take a sec to redraw it, and then you can sort of see the division or the vision. And if you click on a specific one, you'll actually get the person's name. If it's a single person, you'll get the person's name, and you can then click on Show on WikiTree, which will open this profile. If it's multiple people, it'll show the list of profiles along the side there, and then you can click on any of those. So that's a very cool. And then of course, you can choose ancestors only, descendants only, just the nuclear family. And if if it's a WikiTreeers ID up there, then you can view your managed profiles. So that's kind of a cool feature. And you can turn things on and off by going into the layers. So you can actually turn on where the cemeteries are, various locations. And for a person, you can actually color it by century or by generation, and limit it to that. So there's lots of neat things you can do with this.
Awesome.
Samuel Fuller is one that actually has parents. So we can show another app here that we couldn't for some of the others. He came from a large family. He was born in 1581, Redden Hall, Norfolk, England. Passed away in 1633, so early on in the colony, life in the colony. His first wife was Alice Glascock, but that's all we know. Her name was mentioned in the marriage of his second wife, that record. And sadly, his second, so he had one child with his second wife that passed away after birth, and then a few days later, his second wife then also passed away. So that's very sad. But then he remarried for a third time, and this time it stuck. It lasted longer. She survived. She out-survived him by many years, in fact.
What does this all say to us? Women, we should just stay away from men.
That's right. Yes.
I'm so glad Julie has survived you so far.
Oh man, yes. So, and they got married in Holland because they were one of the ones that had gone to. Last year's history lesson was all about how the Puritans who were persecuted in England first of all escaped to Holland, where there wasn't that persecution, and then they decided to go to the New World because England and Holland and the Netherlands had joined up to fight Spain, and so part of that agreement was the Netherlands had to evict the people that they had taken in that the Church of England didn't like. So that's why the Puritans had to go to the New World, because they were the ones who just gave up on the Church of England, said we're not going to deal with them anymore. So they had got married in Holland, in the Netherlands, set up shop in Plymouth, and it was the 1633 during an epidemic that he took Samuel. He was the surgeon there, and he was helping people out, and then he eventually got afflicted with it himself. So that's very sad. His wife, however, went on to live for another. Let's see. He passed away in 33. She didn't pass away until. Wait a second. Oh no! Okay, no.
I feel like it should be playing the drum roll.
Yeah, there was one. So there's one person who passed, outlived their husband by 50 years or something. It was crazy.
Chris Wine has a question.
Yes?
I'm on my cell today. How do we add the relationships on top of the page again?
That's an excellent question, Chris.
The browser extension.
It's the WikiTree browser extension. So if you install the WBE, the WikiTree browser extension, then when you're up in the URL bar up here, the location bar, there'll be an icon, and then you can turn on the relationships. It's one of the options under, where is it here? Distance and relationship. This option right here. You can turn that on or off. I like to leave it on. So that's how I get that notification up there. The other one there that I use a lot, that I really like, is showing the family lists, which
I don't like that one.
Well, this was the one at the bottom. No, where's it? You
mean on the right-hand side, as opposed to?
No, I mean no.
I like seeing the DNA connections up there at the top of that page.
Yeah, sort theme people. The one I was talking about is the one at the bottom of the profile that sorts all the people you're related to, and puts them in alphabetical order, or in order.
You mean the list, like what this list?
Yeah, the list at the bottom. Yeah, sort theme.
Yes.
Sort theme.
That one.
That this list down here.
Oops, sorry, I just messed you up. There we go. Oh, you were going there too. Okay.
Yeah, that list there. Yeah. So it's interesting, actually. All of these profiles, they have really like single digit degrees from each other.
Wow. I was
Yeah.
like, Greg, you're really close. No.
Yeah, no, that's not me. This is the profile. This is Sam. And the tree app for Sam that I was going to show is the Ancestor Lines Explorer, because he has some ancestors which many of the other profiles didn't have.
That
And
is
this
such an
one,
elegant tree. I like that.
neat? Yeah. It's a lot less busy than most of the apps that I do. But you can you can collapse and expand any particular one. So if you are interested in a specific branch, then you can zoom in on that and just avoid all the other noise or whatever. You know what I mean? So that's kind of neat. But it also has lately they've added a lot more features up here, other options, so you can actually show where the brick walls are. This isn't one where I have more than one. If you have a family where there's some duplication in your ancestry, so this will show if you hover over or click on one of them, the second or third appearance of the same person in the tree will be highlighted, so you can see where they are. So that's a really neat feature. You can show if you've clicked off those checkboxes, no more spouses, no more children, that can be indicated. And the biocheck as well has now been integrated into this app, so you can use that as well. So there's lots of really neat things. And you can even, if you know that someone's in this list, like if you have a really large pedigree that's expanded here and you can't find them quickly, you can just type the name up here and it'll zoom into where that person is. So lots of neat additions to it. And again, you can choose how many generations. Now this one goes up to 20. So you can go really nuts on this one. Elizabeth Fisher Hopkins, born in 1585 in Middlesex. And she was, again, you don't see her parents because their identity hasn't conclusively established. So again, there's descriptions here. There's some rationale of where she came from. She was married to Stephen Hopkins, his second wife. Traveled with her on the Mayflower, and she was also one of the only 4 adult women who survived that first winter. Yeah, let's see. Stephen's wife. So, and there's a list of her children, and then she has extensive research notes, and again, another mitochondrial DNA connection. And I've run out of tree apps, and I'm running out of time. So
yeah, it's only 4:45 in the afternoon, Greg.
Remember Maverick. Remember is her first name. It's not a title, and it's not an indication that we should remember. Well, we should remember about Remember.
She's my closest.
Is she?
Did we pass Susan Winslow?
No, not yet. Not yet.
Okay. I'm like, did I miss one?
Yeah. Remember, formerly Allerton. So we do know her parents, Isaac Allerton and Mary Norris. She was born about 1615 in Leiden, Holland. So her parents had moved over to Holland to escape England, and then they eventually came over to Plymouth, and she was born in Holland. So she was only an infant, well, not an infant, but she was a young girl during the trip, only 5 years old. Accompanied her parents and her siblings, and I
love that they brought a servant boy with them, John.
Servant boy,
John Hook.
Yeah. And then, yes, servant boy, 2 steers, 2 she-goats. It's all fun. Her husband passed away in 1686, and there's 7 children. And again, another DNA note from my mtDNA.
Yeah, the Mayflower project on the FTDNA group project and the WikiTree project are very integrated, which I think is great.
It's excellent to see. Yeah. It is. Then we have Richard Moore Sr. Oh, I do have a cousin. So I think this is the first cousin I found in the whole list of, and we go back because he has a French connection, Mathilde de Chatillon in 1224. Okay. So Captain Richard Moore.
That's my 8th cousin to Ralph Neville and Henry Percy.
Okay.
Those are
yeah. So again, he was a kid. He was a child when he arrived on the Mayflower, born in 1614, so would have only been about six years old. Would have celebrated his 6th birthday in the harbor.
Wow.
Do you think a kid back then would have been like, I don't want to leave all my friends. I don't want to go.
Right. That's I don't know. So there's some drama here, and I won't go into it because we were running out of time. But if you read the information about his birth and his parents, there was some drama there because of how his parents got together, basically to solidify some inheritance from, I guess, his grandfather, Jasper Moore. And his father is not the one who married his mother. Anyways, there was some nastiness there, and so he came over, but not with his parents. Came over with after the divorce and the aftermath, blah blah, that all this drama. He was put in care along with his siblings from that first union to 3 men of really honest and religious people. So he came over basically, well, not as an orphan, but what would you call someone abandoned by their parents?
He was the first British home child.
Yeah, really.
He was the first British home child.
Yeah, wow. Very sad. But anyways, he became a captain himself in the I think so. Where is it? Lived in Salem. Oh, no, maybe I'm thinking of the wrong profile. He's also a tavern keeper. Captain Richard Moore. No, he did become a captain. Yeah, he became a seaman and a ship captain, made trips to England and the West Indies, and then I guess became a tavern keeper afterwards. So there we go.
Whoever the chief family genealogy officer is, it's 22 degrees.
Oh.
Wait, temperature-wise or to the
to connect it? 22 degrees. Yeah, that's right.
More.
Oh, and the last one, Susanna Winslow. Born in
Which is Betsy's closest. I've been waiting all morning to be able to say that.
13.
Yeah.
And it's just 2 stretches. Only one marriage connecting them.
Yeah. Only one change.
That's amazing. Wow. Like, is it 13 generations? Like, it would be about 13 generations to go that far back, wouldn't it? Like, is it all sort of parent-child?
That I didn't look that closely at it. I don't know.
But it can't. I mean, how many generations? That's kind of wild. The origins and parents of Susanna were discovered and published in 2017. So all sources and speculation prior to this, ignore. Just don't worry. Don't think about it. So that's kind of cool that they've sort of definitively figured out where, so you can see she has parents. And then the whole section about the names and origins and the rationale that led to that discovery or that conclusion. And then here she is. She married William White about 1614, and they traveled together on the Mayflower with their son. The son's name was resolved. And the other thing is, so her second son, Peregrine, was born on the Mayflower when it was offshore. So it actually had already arrived, but he was born basically on the water. So he doesn't count as, well, Peregrine technically didn't travel from.
True.
Well, he sort of traveled in utero.
I know he was in the womb.
He was there, yeah.
I would count him.
You would count that, yeah. So one of these profiles, and now I can't remember which one it was the last living Mayflower passenger, one of the men, and I can't remember which one it was now. And then it said in brackets, not counting, you don't count Peregrine because he was born here. He was on the Mayflower. He was on the Mayflower. Yes, he was born on the Mayflower. But yeah, so
And he was a passenger.
He was a passenger. There you go. Anyways, so anyways, Susanna herself passed away in 1654. And there we go. Resolved and Peregrine, very interesting names. So there we go. Those are your profiles and some tree apps for added bonus.
Wow.
Thanks, Greg.
The app that I worked on during Hacktoberfest is really, really close, and I was gonna show it, but I don't have time. So I will.
That was the hook.
That was the hook. Yeah,
The
I'm gonna
hook
show it
was
next
pulling
week.
you off stage.
Yeah, no, I'm fine. I've spent more than my share time.
That's okay, Greg. We love you anyway.
Yeah.
Okay.
People were really excited to see all the tree apps being used on those profiles. That was cool.
Yeah. Well, there's so many, and there's some that I couldn't use. Some that just because their focus on Ancestry just didn't. We didn't have enough ancestors to show some of those off. And anyways, check that out.
Another time.
Another time.
Let's see. I have Megs. Did we look at? There was a photo of Earl Gold. Is that your dad?
Yeah.
Did we look at that last time?
No.
Oh,
cool. Tell us about Earl.
Look at that.
I thought that was very.
That's not Earl.
Wait,
that's
no.
Grandpa Max.
Did you put it? You put it on the free space page.
Yes,
right?
I did.
Yes, you did. So let me. No. Yeah. Okay. Well, let's look at this one first.
Go for it.
We're already there. Yeah.
So, I don't think this was in the G2G, so I don't know more about it. But we have. I'll make it a little bigger. Grandpa Max on his pony. Iowa. So contributed by Christine Miller. Christine's not in the chat, is she?
I don't see.
I don't think I remember
yes.
seeing. Yeah. Okay. All right. And then, oops, code. Okay. And then let me.
She was.
Oh, she was.
Yeah, at the very beginning.
We did see that one and that one.
We did, yeah, Fonzie and this beautiful one. K Knight's dog. Oh. And the thought bubble, the dog with thoughts. Snowflake. There, would-be fighter pilot. That's it, right?
That's it.
Tell us about it.
You know, it's funny. Dad has no idea who the guy is in the middle.
Oh,
but
really?
That is my dad in the flight suit.
The baby?
The baby.
Oh,
in the flight suit. That's Fletcher Earl Golden Jr. And that is Major, their dog. The dog's name is Major. Dad remembers Major, but has no idea who the guy is in the middle. And that is on the running board of my grandfather's Ford pickup truck.
Wow.
Neat. Wow. Could it be a cousin?
I don't recognize him as a cousin. And Dad was the oldest of his cousins. So, yeah.
I love his he looks so happy. Like,
oh, yeah.
He looks so much like my sister. There's no doubt that my sister is my sister because they look just alike in this picture. Yeah. Isn't that adorable?
It is.
And everybody at that time, because of the Little Rascals show movies things that they did, all the Little Rascals trailers that they did during movies, everybody had one of these what do you call it? Terriers. And
yes.
Yeah. So that was Major, the terrier.
I'm so glad you shared that.
That's
really
little Earl.
Aw. All right, and then I don't think we had anything new in the G2G. I think that was, or was there? That's right. Okay, so we had these photos, and this was posted by, was it Chris Wine? Am I correct? Chris Wine, who is with us in the chat.
Nice.
So she said that.
We don't see what you're looking at. I don't think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
We're still looking at my cute dad.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
there we go.
okay. So Chris posted this on G2G about how she always made a point that the family dogs should be in the family photos because they were a part of the family. And so she gave us 2 shots with 2 different dogs. The first one being this one at the top, her dog Tinta, which means black in Hungarian. And then the second one, which I blew up, there she is in the center with her dog, begins with a W. What was it? Winnie.
Nice.
Winnie Wine. I don't know if that is Chris's maiden name, but it would have been Winnie Wine if it was.
Yeah, that's fun.
Very sweet. All right. So those are photos. Next week's theme, I don't know. Does anyone know what next week's theme is?
Things that make you go,
Beginning of Advent next week.
Wait. I can
when
tell
I'm playing
you.
at church.
Next week's theme is favorite photo. Well, that's a good one. Whatever your favorite photo is.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
That will have some good variety there. This is our last Saturday in November. We didn't have any new activity on the G2G post for ancestors, and so I thought that I had to find an ancestor. So I went to my anniversaries list. I have talked about this lady before, Maud Lydia Nichols Parkhurst. She is the first cousin of one of my great grandmothers, and she died in November on the 29th, and she's been especially on my mind because I just got a photo of her.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, I had to do quite a lot of, are you seeing a group photo?
Yeah.
Group photo.
I had to do quite a lot of research on Maud because my mother and her aunt, my aunt just called her Aunt Maud. And they were like, oh, I don't know. We think she was grandma's sister. But I was like, that can't be right because that doesn't make sense. So that was how I had to dig and find out.
And who is she?
She was all right. So the lady on the far right is my great grandmother.
Gotcha.
And Maud is her first cousin. So that's why my mother and my aunt called her aunt, but she wasn't really an aunt, I guess. Anyway, so when I was visiting with my aunt just 2 weeks ago, she said, oh, look, there's Maud. And so now I have a photo of Maud. Now I know what she looks like. Nice. And these are my grandparents. My grandmother's kind of hiding behind.
That's funny.
Photobombing, as it were. And my grandfather's brother on the far left, and his family. So
they look alike.
Yeah, they do. They do. Yeah. And my great grandmother's maiden name was Menzie, and the son on the left, his name was Eugene Menzie McMurray, but everyone called him Menzie. Menzie was his nickname, which is kind of a cool nickname, I think.
Yeah.
So I will put up a new post for Celebrate Your Ancestors in December, and bring those ancestors in. We always
bring them on.
Yeah, bring them on. Okay. And tip of the week. Okay, so this is a collaborative effort with Murray Maloney, who is in the chat.
He's here.
Yes, he is. Yes. Murray. Murray is amazing.
He is. Okay, there. So the tip is to take advantage of the access keys that are a feature in the WikiTree browser extension. And these are really, really handy. So for instance, right now you're seeing a free space page. Now, I'm on a Mac. If I do Control Option G, it takes me to recent activity on G2G.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Let's see. Control Option R is going to take me to a random profile.
A random profile.
And R for
I got
random.
a totally different one when I tried that just now.
It's short. Well, it's random.
Wow, it must be
But I got a
random.
cousin. I got my 24th cousin.
Oh.
One more. Control Option F is going to take me to the search field.
So if you're not on a Mac machine, there must be a Windows command for those of us on a PC.
That's right. If you're on a PC, you're going to use Shift Alt plus whatever the access letter is. Okay. So you would do
the letters are the same.
Or Shift Alt G. Okay, so let's talk through this. I have not memorized all of these access keys.
No.
So here you can see that they're all laid out for you on the WikiTree browser extension free space page, but that can be sort of cumbersome to always jump back to that. So what you're going to do is you're going to, I would suggest, I've already done this, is to copy and paste this into your notes feature of the browser extension. So you can see up at the top of this page that you have these icons. Okay, so this is clipboard. The clipboard is where you want to put things that you need to copy and paste a lot. So maybe you're in the middle of a thon and you've got a family with 15 children and you're just going to be copying that census back and forth. And back, I would put that in my clipboard.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or you're working on a one name study and you need the sticker and but your notes are where you want to put things just, for reference. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go to my notes and you can see that Murray has given me this text and he has an alphabetical list too, but I think to sort them by function is better. So up at the top, he tells you what to do depending on whether you're a Mac or PC user. And then there are these navigational shortcuts, managing information, like if you want to copy the link or copy the URL, open or close notes. Then this is while you're reading a person profile, and then while you're editing a person profile.
Thank you, Murray.
Yeah. Now, I know you're all thinking, well, that's great for you, Betsy, because Murray gave you the text. What about me? So what I did was I went to, and I'm going to put this in the chat, the tip of the week home free space page. There it is. Da-da-da. And I put the text right under today's tip, which is saving the access key cheat sheet until you memorize them all. There will be a test next week.
So Murray is saying, no, it's Ian Bacall's show. He's responsible for WBE. I'm just the reporter.
Yes.
Okay. Well, and thank you.
It's a good thought, Murray.
So I went ahead and you should be able to just go to this link and literally highlight, copy, and then paste. I tested it. It works. So have fun.
Looking forward to it.
Yay.
Okay. Can I found the name. David Weinberg was the person who worked on Jamie's ancestor statistics and made it now generational statistics and added all that.
Nice. We had a question to come up during all of that while we've been having our talk. And the question is, where is Sarah? Now, a lot of people don't know about this, but Sarah has been put into WikiTree Witness Protection Program. She is living her best life and enjoying old love, but new love, her life, and generally doesn't have time for us on Saturday mornings recently. Okay. Like maybe, so that's why she's in Witness Protection Program, because Greg and Betsy and I have been trying to figure out how we could go and kidnap Sarah from living her best life so that she has to come and hang out with us on Saturday. We wish Sarah the best. It's not like she's gone. I'm sure that if we said, Sarah, come in, we need you, she would be here in a heartbeat.
Yes.
Like that. It's just like she's doing her thing. So we're happy that Sarah is doing her thing and that she is off. So that's why she's not around. Just nothing's wrong. She's just being Sarah and having a lot. She had a wonderful Thanksgiving with her boyfriend just yesterday. I saw that they were having a good time. Nice. So that's where Sarah is. Mm-hmm. So there. And we have I don't even have my stuff ready here. I want to share my screen, my window here. There we go. So we do have social media that you can share for the upcoming week. Just go, if you want to find it, go up to find, down to projects. And when you're on the projects, go to the ambassadors page. There's a social media tab down there. And you can go and you can find what's going on. And like Greg said, if you want to find, that's how I found to post my picture, was going down to the picture of the week, the photos. Yeah. Next week, it's going to be what?
Favorite photo.
Favorite photo. There we go. Celebrate your ancestors November. I don't know if she's had a time to update this. Cramblet is the look, Smith Falls is the place study.
Hey, wow.
That's right down the road from me.
Yeah.
But Cramblet's the name study. So, and then We Will Rock You coming up. So if you want to help WikiTree spread the love, certainly grab that information. You can go over to G2G and see what's happening around WikiTree, the big events that we showed last week. You can check that out. The 17 challenge, the week challenge 17 is the Afro-American Historical and Genealogical Society Nashville. I think that ends coming up soon. And then what's happening around WikiTree in November? Gosh, I got to upvote Aowen for that. Is weekend chat. Let's see, that's us right here. There we are, the 24th.
November.
Sourcing sprint's going on today. And then, we're not the weekend chat. We should be the weekend chat.
Yeah, really.
So Saturday roundup, and then the October We Will Rock You. There's also other stuff going on, the Bio Builders, the Canada Connect Project Notables. Say that 3 times. I dare you. Military, Black Heritage Notables, Connectors, Jedi, Halloween at the England Project. Anyway, there's other stuff going on, and the We Will Rock You stuff, which Betsy's really involved in. So check that information out. And do we have anything else that we needed to say or do? Or
well, I'll just say, since you brought up rock, we're starting our 5th rock in December, and I am almost ready to announce the 5 people who have been selected.
To be rocked.
We take nominations and then we randomly select 5 people, but they do have to accept the opportunity.
We're going to do your family whether you like it or not.
Yeah, that's great.
No.
So I'll be putting out a G2G post hopefully really soon.
Cool.
The next day or so.
Cool. Great. Well, if you didn't fall asleep today, we guarantee you will fall asleep next weekend. So come back and spend your morning with us with your coffee. And I didn't show you any M&Ms, but I've been having a few of those. But we will see you next week, same place, same time, and you guys have fun.
Yeah.
We'll see you soon.
Have a great weekend.
You guys have a great weekend.